Hey guys, thanks for joining us for this 133rd episode in Season 2 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. Special guests on this episode include actor Robert Davi. He's got a new movie he's a part of, I Love Us. We'll also visit with actress and singer, along with author, Alicia Witt. We'll talk about her new album, The Conduit, plus her new single, video, and upcoming touring. We'll also visit with country singer and songwriter Scotty Alexander. His new album, Road We're On, we'll also talk about his current single, One More Reason. We'll also visit with a friend of the show, Jeremy Sisto, new episodes of FBI, plus a new movie, Last Night in Rozzy, that's available now. And we'll finally visit with producer Daemon Hillin. He's got a new movie, Apache Junction. Of course, if you would, please take the time to subscribe, comment, leave some feedback, check out the shop, and share with your friends. Now, if you're driving right now with someone else in your car, listening may have your heart sync up. I'm not joking, it is science. A new study in France found that our breathing and heartbeats tend to synchronize during shared experiences, like someone telling you a story. So just listening to me talk right now might just be doing it. Now, it also happens with other shared activities, like listening to music or just having a deep conversation. But it only happens if you're both paying close attention. Now, it's less likely to happen if one of you zones out or gets distracted by something like your phone. Got a new movie to talk about. Robert Davi on the line with us. And first off, Robert, good to visit with you again, my friend.
It's great to see you, Cameron.
Tell us the movie I Love Us and how excited you are. This one in VOD and in select theaters as well. And this is truly a great, timely story as well.
It is. It's a family crime drama directed by Danny A. And he's in it. He plays my son. So it's a father and son who are in this world of pulling off some different criminal aspects to pay off a larger entity, let's say, played by Ilya Baskin, a kind of a crime lord. But the heart of the film is a father and son, and the son and his love affair and his relationship with his newfound girlfriend, who becomes his wife. And then it has another aspect to it that's very heartbreaking and very emotional, which is how do you reconcile, or how do you get accepted as a blended family? How does a new father get accepted by stepchildren? So the film explores several layers and beautifully woven together in the screenplay and in the film.
And I know Danny was so taken by the script that he wanted to portray the lead as well. And Robert, talk about his vision of the script and how impressed you were by that as well, sir.
Well, of course, I've done more than several pictures with Danny. He's a close friend. They say in the Jewish language, a mishpocha. And his passion for film and his passion for this story. And I loved it because, so many people come from blended families and not a lot of films deal with that aspect to it. And this, besides having the excitement of the heist, and David James Elliott's in it, and Ilya Baskin, and James Madio, and Katie Cassidy, and two young, beautiful actresses. Besides this very deep or the fun aspect of the heist, it has the depth of, like I said, the reconciliation of father and son, and then a son trying to, with his new wife, get accepted by his stepdaughters, and they get thrown into a very, very deep emotional circumstance that make this that ups the ante of the whole thing. So it just is very well structured and balanced.
And Robert, I know last time we talked, we talked a little bit also about the music that you've been working on, and I just wondered, since we've talked last time, how much has music helped you get through what we've been living through, my friend?
Well, thank God for music, because I would rehearse every at least twice a day, or twice a week with one of my musical directors, pianists, just to keep that going, and then going into the studio to record some new music, which hopefully I'll have finished. I was supposed to have it finished, by November, but I have to go to Serbia to film for 2 months. So hopefully now it'll be, when I get back, I'll finish it up, but I have some exciting songs, and I think you'll appreciate it and love it.
And Robert, what else have you got coming in the coming months? I know you said you got filming going on in Serbia. What other releases you got that we can look forward to, my friend?
Well, I've got The Demon Trap coming out with Randy Couture. Mm-hmm. I've got, Paper Empire, a new TV series with myself and Denise Richards and Wesley Snipes and Ann Archer, and a tremendous cast. I play the lead of that. It deals with the digital world. And I play this multi-billionaire who has for all extents and purposes, lost $90 billion, but it's not. It's in some digital, some digital empire somewhere. But I've got that coming out. I've got another film called The Man Who Loved God that I did in Italy with Franco Nero, the great actor. And he directed that. And I have Reagan coming out. We filmed in Oklahoma, actually.
Oh, wow.
Had a great time in Oklahoma. I played Brezhnev, who was the Russian, the head of Russia. Mm-hmm. For many years. He was one of the, strongest Putins of his era. and so I got that coming out. And then I have another picture coming out. And I'm trying to think of the name of it, but it'll get there. The Lurking Fear.
All right. So again, the new movie, check it out. It's called I Love Us. You can find it on video on demand, also in limited theaters as well. And Robert, always want to make sure as well to mention social media where folks can keep up with your music and everything else you've got going as well.
The website, DaviSingSinatra.com, at Robert Davi. On Instagram, I hope you join me on there, and at Robert John Davi on Twitter.
All right. Well, Robert,
I haven't gotten into those other platforms yet, Cameron, but I'm sure I will at some point.
I'll find you as soon as you do, Robert.
Okay.
Robert, always great to visit with you, my friend. Have a great week, and hopefully we'll catch up again real soon.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Well, the National Retail Federation put out their annual Halloween survey, and dressing up is only the third most popular way that we'll celebrate this year. Handing out candy is first, followed by putting up decorations. But if you're planning to dress up, this might help you avoid wearing the same costume as someone else. They looked at this year's most popular costumes for kids, adults, and pets, and here's what they found. The 10 costumes for adults this year are witch, vampire, ghost, cat, pirate, Batman, zombie, Superman, the Joker, and a tie between Spider-Man and Dracula. Avengers characters also made the list. Now, the 10 costumes for kids are Spider-Man, a princess, Batman, other random superheroes, a witch, a ghost, pumpkins, Superman, a zombie, and the Avengers. And the 10 most common costumes for pets this year are a pumpkin, a hot dog, a superhero, a cat, a bumblebee, a ghost, a bat, a lion, a dog, and a witch. Devil and pirate also ranked high. Now, they also found that households with kids will spend an average of $147 on Halloween this year. Households without kids will spend about half that, just under $74, and the overall average is $103. You know her from the big screen, the small screen. I've been watching her over on Justified as of late. That's where I've been streaming her most recently. We've got actress, singer, so many other things, Alicia Witt, with us today. And Alicia, always good to visit with you, my friend.
It's so nice to visit with you too. Thank you for watching Justified.
I think I've watched just about everything you've been in. So there you go. I typify as a true fan.
Oh, but thank you. I appreciate that so much.
And I know we're going to talk music today, and was checking out the new music, The Conduit. And Alicia, this last couple of years, how much has the music helped you maintain whatever level of sanity that you've been able to maintain?
It has been absolutely essential. I can't imagine how I would have gotten through this last crazy year and a half that we've all lived through without music, especially through these live stream shows that I've been playing. When the lockdown first began in March of 2020, I started doing a weekly show. And that sense of community that we found with people all around the world coming together for that hour to listen to some music, but also to talk with one another. I have shivers just talking about it. True friendships were formed. And now a lot of those people are coming out to my live shows that I'm finally about to play. And they're making plans to meet up with each other and traveling together and all of this. So even though this will be the first tour that I've had in a long time, it doesn't feel like it's been that long since I've shared my music with people in real time.
Now, you talked about the live streaming shows. How much different was your opinion of those live streaming shows from the first one to the latest that you've put out? I mean, how much technically did you learn in the gap in between?
I think the biggest surprise for me with the first show was how much of a high I felt after it. Because after playing a live show, as you might expect, it's very hard to sleep. Like on our tour, we always drive after the show because we're all going to be awake and wired and pumped up after that energy of playing for live people. But I was surprised that doing a live stream, I didn't feel like I was just sitting in my room by myself playing and looking over at the computer screen every now and then. It really was a live show. And I had that same energy and awakeness after those that I do when I'm out on stage. And I think what's going to be the most different, though, is like people will say on a live stream, "Oh, we're singing along. Can you hear me?" But at a real live show, I'm going to look out and see people singing to things that I made up. And that's a thrill I will never get over. It's a magical feeling.
What is the thing, Alicia, that you realize that you miss the most about that live show? Is it the interaction that you see person to person? Is that the thing you miss the most?
Yes, it is. And also, I get such joy, especially in these divided times, of the feeling and the knowledge when I look out at a room full of people and I can see clearly that they might not have anything in common with one another, except that they're all there enjoying these songs for that moment. So I can help them all to find something that they do have in common, and maybe in some very small way help to heal the divide that we're experiencing in this country right now.
And music is one of the best healers. And for you, Alicia, to see folks out there at the live shows and to have the music be a healer to them as well. I mean, what does that mean to you on a personal level?
It means everything. I mean, I know from when I go to see a live show, how I feel when I go out into the world. It's like the songs that meant so much to me that I just heard, and the sense that I'm sharing those songs with everybody who's listening as well. You then take that energy out into the night with you, and you take it home and you wake up smiling the next morning. And I think that there's, especially since we've all been experiencing such fear and uncertainty, knowing that there's going to be COVID protocols in place at each of my shows, and we're all going to be taking precautions to make sure that it's as safe as possible for people inside. So I'm hoping that people will take this as an opportunity to just hopefully forget about all that has been on our minds for all of this time now, and just hear some stories that hopefully they can relate to, and that might remind them of some things they've lived through as well.
That's right. And again, the album, The Conduit, Alicia, I want to make sure and let folks know where they can find not only more about that, all of your socials, and I know that you've even got some writing upcoming as well.
Yes. Oh, yes. It has been a busy time. My website, aliciawittmusic.com, has links to get The Conduit on CD and vinyl. It's not quite out on Amazon and Target and Walmart and all that, but it will be. Just some manufacturing delays that are pretty industry wide right now. Mm-hmm. But I will have CDs and vinyl with me at all of my shows. And if you join my mailing list and follow along on the socials, you'll be sure to know as soon as it is available. But you can pre-order it right now at aliciawittmusic.com. All
right. Well, Alicia, it is always great to visit with you. Love the new music, and safety as you get out on the road for the tours. And hopefully we can catch up again real soon, my friend.
Thank you so much, Cameron. What a pleasure talking to you today.
Now, it seems early to start talking about Christmas gifts, but around 30% of Americans have already started shopping, or will start next month, so maybe not. A new poll asked people what they're planning to buy their friends and family for the holidays this year, and also what they're hoping to get. And it looks like experiences might be more popular than physical gifts this year. 54% of Americans plan to spend more on experiences than they do on stuff. And the number one thing we're planning to give people are gifts that create memories, like tickets to concerts or sporting events. Now, the top thing that we want to get also falls into that category. Vacation-related stuff is number one, including money for flights and hotel rooms. The top 5 things we're planning to give this year are experiences, electronics, clothes, vacations, and jewelry. Home decor, cosmetics, and fitness equipment also made the list. Now, the list of things that we want to get has some overlap. The top 5 are vacation-related things, clothes, experiences, jewelry, and home decor. Now, the poll also found 59% of people would rather go on a big trip this year than have a traditional family get-together at home. We love singers, we love songwriters, we love musicians. This guy does a little bit of all of it. Has toured the world playing the instruments, writing the songs, has a new single to talk about in an album called One More Reason is the name of the single. Scotty Alexander on with us today. And Scotty, first off, it's a privilege to have the chance to have the chance to visit with you today, brother.
Likewise, man. Cameron, nice to meet you. Pleasure to be up in Oklahoma with you today, even via a little satellite communication here. Yeah, it's good to be with y'all.
Now, Scotty, this last year and a half, 2 years, I mean, you've been in the business for a bit. How has the outlook changed as a result of what we've all gone through these last couple of years, brother?
You know, we have a fantastic team in place. My agent, my manager. And yes, like everybody else, we were unemployed for a hot minute. But then probably 2-3 months after that, we did something we unfortunately had to scale back to just me and an acoustic guitar. And I never worked so dang much in my life. We went out. My agent found every bar, restaurant, venue that would at least take a guitar player. And we went out and made more friends across the whole bottom half of the United States. And we stayed busy, and now a lot of those venues are hiring us back full band, and we're off to the races now that we've sort of got the caution light, so to speak, as we're all taking our cautionary lap around the track right now. And thank God we did. We made a whole bunch of new friends, and of course had a whole bunch of new music in the can to share if there's everybody coming up.
And Scotty, how much do you look forward to seeing a green flag being waved? It seems like we've seen a lot of the yellow and the reds. We're looking forward to the green, right?
Very much looking forward to the green. It's like we have 3 kids, and so I explained to them, this is just where we fell in history. My aunts and uncles, my dad had me late in life, so I had to hear stories of World War II. And, my Uncle Vern getting a draft notice and off he went to fight the Germans. That's where they fell in history. So there's, every few generations get some traumatic stuff that they got to wade through. This just happened to be where we fell. And now, hopefully, we can get back to everybody enjoying our time on this rock, huh?
That's right. Now, you're a singer-songwriter, write all of your own stuff, and the new single, One More Reason. Tell us, Scotty, what's so special about this new single to you personally?
Well, it's everything I write these days. Everything comes from some sort of true story, either past, present, or future that involves what comes out of my brain. And that's helped me as a songwriter tremendously, because I'm just writing about what comes in my eyeballs and my ears. And in this particular scenario, my wife, I think I'm a big golfer. Let me just start with that. I think I'm a big golfer. And my wife my wife loves the game as well. And so she had made this comment to me on the phone one day. She said, "Honey, I just hope we can retire on a golf course." And I started laughing. I said, "Fuck, I need one more reason to love you." And then the phone went silent for a minute. She goes, "Oh, Lord, you're writing it down, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, it's going to be a song." So that and that little guitar riff in the front that I'm playing there on my Telecaster, that had been around my hands for the last couple of months. So I knew it was going to match up with some lyrics at some point and become a tune. It's that's always been my first passion. What's paid the bills for a couple of decades is me playing instruments, being a music director, producer for somebody else. So that part of the record process and writing, thank God, has been under my fingers, as they say, for a while.
That's right. Now, you talked about being a band leader, a music director, if you will, for several different artists. I mean, it ranges from Wayne Newton to most recently Brian White. And Scotty, what do you pull from each of those experiences that you're looking and working on your own band, own sound as we move forward? What are you pulling from those different experiences?
Great question. As the name of your show, I mean, good question. Man, that to me was one of the biggest gifts I ever got, because I grew up listening to, hardcore country music. I mean, that's what we lived on, and being a fiddle player. I mean, I was a fiddle player first. So if you're a fiddle player, you're learning Faded Love and Tennessee Waltz and Maiden's Prayer. And I mean, you're learning real country music coming up, and that's all I cut my teeth on in single digits. And then by the time I was a teenager, that was the explosion of the 90s golden era of country music. Mm-hmm. So here I had all this country stuff absorbed, and I was already on the road playing. And then I get this call that Wayne Newton's looking for a guitar player. Well, Wayne was kind of tired of the jazz side, big band side of stuff. He's a Virginia boy, he's a Shenandoah boy, and he plays fiddle and banjo and all those things. And so it was a match made in heaven. As soon as I walked on stage, I mean, I knew all the Elvis tunes and the Merle tunes and the Willie songs, and all of a sudden, the horn section, all these high-class jazz guys are rolling their eyeballs like, oh, heck, here comes the hillbilly. Now we got to play country music. And we did. I mean, that became this huge part of Mr. Newton's show. He was able to feature me for many years, and we played Devil Went Down to Georgia and doing banjos and Whiskey River, and I mean, we just had a blast together. But on the same, specific to your question, here I am learning Fly Me to the Moon and Grown Accustomed to Your Face and MacArthur's Park and all these jazz standards that we had to play in Wayne's show that I never would have been exposed to otherwise. So coming back into country music, the guitar knowledge and everything else that I was able to grasp through that period, it's fun. It's fun to mesh all those together. And
we talked about working with Brian most recently, and he's not only playing drums on the track, but the entire album. And how has the music industry allowed you to forge friendships like Brian, who's also all in for you as well?
As you spend time in any community, right? If you're in the cement business, you're gonna know other cement guys, the contractors know the contractors, and you kind of learn who you want to start working with. And that's the same in the music business. And I spent 5 years in Nashville, had a publishing deal out there, and had my studio on Music Row, and worked as what they call an editor. And in that process, playing sessions and being around people, there's these hidden gems. Like, here's this superstar of the golden era of country music, Brian White. He's one of the best drummers you could ask for in the studio. I mean, that's what he went to Nashville to do, and then became the singer Brian White. And so for years, I'm playing bass guitar and he's playing drums, or he's playing acoustic guitar and I'm playing electric. So we just helped each other back and forth make records. And now in this installment, this year's record, I just said, man, I want you to play all drums on the whole thing. And he's a brilliant talent, and he brought a lot to this record.
Now we talk about the album Road We're On, and released back in August. And what's it like, Scotty, in the midst of all this pandemic, the craziness, trying to do things remotely, putting an album together? How much different was the process this time around? Strangely enough, how we make records in the pandemic is how I've always made records and continue to, which is pretty remotely. So I have a portable studio. It stays with me. I can record just dang near anything I need to, from a fifth wheel to a hotel room to whatever. And then Brian and that crew out there, we cut drums and acoustic guitars, bass out in Nashville. And then I take those bare tracks with me. And then while I'm on the road constantly and nonstop, I'll take a day or two out every week and set up the portable rig and add some electric tracks and add some banjo, mandolin, acoustics, whatever I have to add on the road. And then lastly, cut my vocals and then send it off to mix. So it's all done in a layered process on this record, which is, I enjoy it because everything kind of gets the microscope, and you kind of get to be able to, tweak the engine as tight as you want to. And so oddly enough, through this pandemic, that's how I've made my records anyway. So it's been remote from us, and we haven't changed anything. Now, Scotty, in the process of a song, what's the hardest part? Is it the writer's block, or is it whenever you're finalizing a song saying, okay, we've done enough? Which is the harder for you?
The harder for me is to let the vocal go, because you can have, I can get great guitar tone in 20 minutes. I know what I'm looking for. Right. I can get out of my head what I want to say, but if the vocal doesn't deliver the story, if it doesn't have the impact that sells the song, everything you've done up to that point is for naught. And so to me, that's the thing that I won't. You ask my team, I'll make them crazy. I have stuff that come back. I'll have stuff that comes back from mix, and they're like, "It's great." And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's got to." I want the vocal to say something, and I think that comes from a little bit of scar tissue throughout the years and things that I have produced and let go. I've listened to it months later and went, "Oh man, I see where I see where I didn't tell the story the way that I had it in my head." So as I get older and hopefully better at my craft, that's the hardest part for me, is to make sure that vocal sells the emotion and sells the song.
Well, Scotty, we talked about the album. We also talked about the single. You've got upcoming tour dates and social media as well. I want to make sure and let our listeners know where to keep up with all of that. Where's the best place?
ScottyAlexander.com is our website. And then, of course, if you're on social media, if you go tour dates wherever we're at and playing, and new music coming up. And, of course, Facebook is Scotty Alexander with the blue check mark as well. And if you're crazy enough, go over to TikTok and look up Scotty Alexander Music. And I have a great time on there. It's the place that I let all of my schizophrenic personalities roam, is out there on TikTok. So that's a fun one for us.
That's good stuff. Well, again, Scotty Alexander, check out the single One More Reason and the album Road We're On. And Scotty, it has been great to catch up with you today, sir. I look forward to catching you in person here in the near future, and hopefully we'll catch up again real soon, brother.
I sure appreciate the time, and stay safe, my friend. Looking forward to visiting with you again soon.
Now, if you're looking to borrow a cup of sugar, there's one city in America that you're almost guaranteed to find a helpful neighbor. That's Madison, Wisconsin. The Neighbor app just released its second annual ranking of the most neighborly cities in America. They consider a whole slew of things, including charitable giving, nonprofit organizations, volunteering rates, happiness rankings, and most importantly, neighborly behaviors like borrowing sugar, I guess. Now this year, Madison ranked #1, partially because it ranked #1 as the happiest city in America, and it also leads the nation in donations to nonprofits. Rochester, New York was second, followed by Portland, Oregon, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Des Moines, Iowa, Washington, D.C., Boston, Seattle, Pittsburgh, and Milwaukee, which is a 90-minute drive from Madison. Now, the survey did not find the least neighborly cities. Always good to have some friends of the show back on. You know, the show FBI had a brilliant episode last night, and our good friend Jeremy Sisto back on the line with us. First off, Jeremy, great to visit with you, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Jeremy, obviously a new season of FBI is underway, and you've got a movie to talk about as well. First off, let's delve into FBI and maybe some of the changes in the new season.
Well, let's see, changes. I mean, we had a new addition to the cast last year that is offered so much and brought so much character to it. And this year is really a continuation. Obviously, everyone in the world had a very strange, year last year with the epidemic and all that. And so we got cut short a little bit, and jumping back in, my character actually had some pretty bad news with his finding out his son has cancer, and some good news with someone from his past, an ex-girlfriend that he never really fully had the chance to, explore a relationship with, moves to his office and becomes the big boss. And so, as a recovering addict, this is going to be the first relationship he puts himself back into. So that can be a vulnerable situation. So a lot's going on for Jubal, but ultimately he's focused on his work. He's good at his work. He loves it, and so for the most part, you'll be seeing him do his job like usual. But learning about all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes and getting glimpses of it really enriches the landscape.
That's right. Now, Jeremy, the role of Jubal, with all of the challenges that we've had over the last couple of years, has it made it maybe a little more difficult to get back into character whenever the shootings do begin, or did it make it a little easier, if you will, to having the extra time?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny with the scenes that I do on the show. There's always, a lot of dialogue. It's a quick pace. We're keeping the story going. We're trying to break new, leads, and it's all happening, and we're trying to bring a lot of energy to that room. When you're out in the world and you have scenes that often end in chases or, kind of, sorry, my dog is, sorry about that. So, like I was saying, yes, so, so in the room that I'm doing the scene, we have to bring that energy itself. So, and my point is that there's not a lot of room to not be invested in it. You can't kind of phone it in because there's not a lot of space within those scenes to kind of space out or think about something else. You really got to stay focused on getting it done. We also do a lot of scenes per day when we're in that room. All this stuff is probably boring to the audience, but basically my point is I don't have a lot of when I'm there. It's very nice because I can't be focused on anything else. I have to keep my head in the game.
Now, we mentioned in passing the film Last Night in Rozzy was released back on the 17th. I want to give you an opportunity to tell our listeners just a little bit about that film as well, sir.
Yeah, I come from the 90s when we all did many independent movies. That's how I cut my teeth. They made so many of them back then, and so I really enjoyed and missed that. So I only have a couple months off a year, but if I can fit something like this in, it's a joy to be around young filmmakers who are just happy to be there and trying to putting it all on the table, and the producer writer Ryan is he really left a lot of himself out on the field, as they say. And so yeah, it's called Last Night in Rossi. It's about his hometown of Boston, Rosendale, this neighborhood in Boston, and yeah, it's a kind of a story of a man who gets called by his childhood friend, who he has a strange history with, called to his bedside as he's dying of cancer, and he has a very strange request, and yeah, it's a very interesting, a lot of heart, and these kind of independent movies need support. So yeah, please check it out.
That's right. And Jeremy, I would be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to give a shout out. I know you've got one of the best fan clubs I've ever seen on social media. I want to give you a chance to say anything to the fan club that's had your back over the years as well, sir.
Yeah, there has been an interesting fan club for the last couple of years. I think it was started by a woman in Italy, and yeah, hey, listen, I like people that like me, so I'm very grateful to the fan club. I hear they're very great. I get a lot of text messages or calls from friends like, "Is this something to do with you?" Because I keep getting emails from this person. I'm like, no, it's not to do with me, but it's, hey, if you want to be in my fan club, go ahead. I support all things that are fans of me.
That's awesome.
Not all things.
Yeah, there are limits. There are limits. Well, Jeremy, again, if folks want to find out more info about the upcoming episodes of FBI, Last Night in Rossi, any of your socials as well, where's the best place to keep up with everything, brother?
Oh, I think on Instagram I'm Sisto, and I think on Twitter I'm Jeremy Sisto.
Well, there you go. Again, new episodes of FBI air Tuesday nights, 8 Eastern, 7 local time. And Jeremy, always great to visit with you, sir. Hope you have a great rest of your week and look forward to catching up again.
You too, man. Thanks for having me.
The website babycenter.com does a list each year of the most popular baby names, and this year's top names were Olivia and Liam. But those lists are based on people who've already had babies, though this is more like a teaser for next year's list. Google Trends looked at the top baby names we've been Googling over the past year, and Olivia is still number 1, but Liam didn't even make the top 10 for boys. The top trending girls' names are Olivia, Autumn, Everly, Isla, Naomi, Ariana, Amelia, Eliana, Mila, and Aria. Now, the top boys' names we've been currently Googling are Luca, Aiden, Kai, Caleb, Maverick, Levi, Jackson, spelled Jaxon, Jackson again, but spelled Jaxson. Then Logan is 9th and Hunter is 10th place. And you gotta love the Jackson spelled the normal way. Yeah, didn't even make the list. We've got a veteran in the film industry, got a brand new movie we're going to be talking about, Apache Junction. We've got Daemon Hillin with us. And Daemon, first off, I appreciate you taking some time to be on the show.
Cameron, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And the ability to share this new movie we created.
Now tell us, where did Apache Junction, where did this whole thing first spur up for you?
Yes. So we've been doing films with the director, Justin Lee. This is this was our third film with Justin Lee. And Justin Lee approached our group with the script Apache Junction. When we saw it, it just blew our mind. We loved it. And one of the most important things is Justin's love of the Western. So Justin, he's good at it. He knows, he does his research. He goes into detail. We love the story. We fell in love with the characters, and we knew we had to make it. So this was back in 2019, mid 2019. And from there, it was a fast-paced chain of events. It was greenlit, sales companies involved, immediately out to talent, good buddy Stuart Townsend, friends with Scout Taylor Compton. We approached first just because, we really felt in our hearts that's for them. We then, the film was greenlit, and then beginning of March 2020, we went into production. Yeah, I know it was. So we went to New Mexico. We shot half of the movie, more than half of the movie in New Mexico. We mobilized the whole entire team. We had 80 people in New Mexico. And then we start hearing these little chirps about this COVID virus. It's like, and then all of a sudden restaurants start closing and we're in the middle of shooting, National Guard's mobilizing, and we're, kind of a little, what's going on here? So we had a team that was very brave, stuck with it as long as we could. But, we got that call from the state, and they're just like, thanks for shooting in New Mexico, but maybe we should stop.
You ain't got to go home. You just got to get out of here for a while.
Yeah. As quickly as you can, and then so we were like, okay, we sent everybody home, made sure everybody was safe. And we were a little it was daunting because we have a whole, Old West town with all that's dressed for a movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I don't know when we're going to come back. So what do we do? That was the number one, like, what do we do here? And we didn't end up picking back up until December of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. And when we picked back up, we couldn't go back to New Mexico because the whole town had changed. So there was the point of going back to New Mexico to film in a town that looks completely different. Why not just finish it in California if we can?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we found this town called White Horse Ranch out in Landers, California. And we were able to, by the good grace of our creatives, Justin Lee, our DP Logan, and our editor, Eamon Long, they were able to piece together two towns completely in different locations and combine it into one town.
Wow.
So, at the beginning of the movie where Scout is kind of like looking off and writing in her journal and looking off into the distance, that's Landers, California. And then, her going and getting on the horse, and then going into the town where we see Trace Adkins, that's New Mexico.
a little transportation that you never saw in the script in the beginning, did you?
Yeah, no, I had no clue. I'm surrounded by brilliant creatives, though. So if I wasn't, then I couldn't have pulled that off. I'm so happy that they did it. I was like, okay.
Now, what are the biggest challenges? You talk about that span of time between shooting. What are the big concerns? Are there concerns also on the actors' parts as well? Because I know for me, I grew a few new grays in that span of time myself.
Yes, this was a daily concern for me. I have the responsibility of obtaining finance. So my investors are, what are we going to do? So it was the daily stress for me. And then not to mention, I have actors all over the world. I had an actor in Costa Rica.
Wow. So
when the actor left, there's visa concerns. How do we get them in? How do we get them out? It was very, very difficult trying to, pin down all the actors to come back. And then also there were new, the white papers were issued with like, how do you make a movie in the COVID environment? So there's a lot of papers there, you're just like reading and It's an increase in cost. All the testing, the safety, all people involved in maintaining the cleanliness. You know, you got to kill those germs,
right?
You got to keep everybody safe. So that was the start of it, and everybody was just learning. So how do we do this? You know, they just created a system, and then how are we going to implement the system? And then how are we going to bring everybody back and time this so that we could finish this movie? So, you know, we had there was a window, and I got Stuart Townsend is like, okay, I can make these dates. And Scout's like, I can make these dates. Boom. No, we got to get this done. All cost. You know, everybody, our director, Justin Lee, he's like, he's driving his truck out. He's going across, you know, so many miles to get to New Mexico. We did it, or excuse me, California. We brought everybody back. But it was a very stressful time period. And during this time period was when even the county was saying there might be shutdowns, or, you know, we might have to stop production again. That was scary. It's really scary. Because what am I going to do? How do I pick back up again on a little movie?
Now, what are the things that you learned from dealing with COVID that are going to help you in the films that you're working on now and moving forward as well?
Yeah, stress management. So, you know, really being able to deal with these unforeseen events, because it was big time stress. You know, it's what my responsibility as the producer is to see it through. So having that and being able to continue to operate in such a high stress level has really brought, you know, it was a test. It was a test for myself personally. And I think that has made me a better producer, and that helps me to elevate all my films moving forward, is because once you can accomplish something like this, you could feel like you could accomplish anything.
So yeah, that was another question about that, was your faith in the industry. Has this helped your faith in the industry by knowing that you can work through this and there's nothing that can stop you? Is that what your mindset is?
Yes, it's really helped with the faith in myself as a human, because you get thrown with hurdles every day as a producer. Fires. Well, I got to put this one out. They're either little, they're big, they're medium. And this was daunting. So knowing that, like, as a human, I could handle this kind of problem, I just felt that there's no limits. Push myself. Let's keep going. Let's make bigger, better. And especially, you know, and I have to thank my team too,
right? Because
there's none of this could have been done without, you know, everybody from the director to the actors to the PAs. It was an uncertain time, and everybody came together, and they were rock stars. Really, they were rock stars. Everybody was so amazing.
That's awesome. Now, we've talked all about the process. I guess we ought to give the listeners just a little insight into Apache Junction in the first place. I mean, we've talked all around it. We haven't talked the story yet.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, the Apache Junction is following Annabelle Angel. She's a reporter for a newspaper in San Francisco, and she's sent to investigate these cold-blooded killers, thieves, and in Apache Junction. And on her journey, she meets these different characters, because it's a very character-driven story. Mm-hmm. And you know, Stuart Townsend, who plays Jericho Ford, is the gunslinging hero in this. You know, and Stuart has a best friend in this, Wasco, played by Ricky Lee, Native American, great guy. And throughout their journey, they have to overcome all the undertakings in this town. And then Oslo Pike is one of the antagonists with, Trace Adkins, who plays the army captain. And it's a really character driven story that goes through, and it's Annabelle's take on what's taking place in Apache Junction.
Now, you talk about Trace. I mean, how surprised were you the first time you saw Trace on set at the professionality he has on the acting chops as well?
So the first time I met Trace, when he said hello, that deep voice, I was like, oh, that's rad. Hearing it in person and like seeing him and then looking up at him, I'm just, he's tall.
Yes,
tall.
He is.
And then, but he had a big smile on his face, and, he was happy to be there, and he was so kind, and he was such a gentleman from everybody, from the PA to, the director. There was so kind throughout the whole entire amount of filming that he had. He was great. And then, Victoria came as well. So she also had a role in the film, and she was phenomenal. They brought their little dog. It was a great experience, seeing this big old, Trace Adkins and this little dog. You're just, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Now, Apache Junction, if our listeners want to find more info about that, about the ones you've got over your shoulders as well, and other projects you've got coming, where's the best place to find all of that, and also maybe social media website as well?
Sure, yeah. So, our website at hillinentertainment.com is updating with like information. Apache Junction's playing in select theaters. And then, so you would just need to check your movie theaters near you. And then, of course, like the iTunes, it's Amazon. We call it a day and date. So it was theaters, and then at the same time, it was digital.
Yep, that's cool. How has all of that, has streaming, you think, helped the independent movie producers more than it has maybe the bigger productions, if you will?
I think so. I think that streaming has really helped the little guy, because we don't necessarily need to get all the screens that the studios get, right, but we could still be on the same platform. We still will sell to Netflix. We still will, it's the same style. We might not have the P&A budgets, but it's the same format. So I think that the streaming, it helps. It's a new age for the indie filmmaker, and I feel very blessed to be, in the spot where I am in my career with the kinds of distribution that I'm surrounded by right now. I think that it's very forward and positive thinking, and where we're going to go.
Now, how is marketing on the streaming side of things? Does it go more of unconventional marketing for streaming as opposed to what we've seen in the conventional theater type?
Sure. Marketing wise, fortunately, I let the distributor deal with that. I'm not a marketing guy. I'm really good at what I do as a producer, but I have to lean on, Saban and Lionsgate for this, because they are very good at what they do. I'm grateful to Saban how they release this with Lionsgate, their social media, their, all the press that they've been able to get for our talent. I've just been really super, super excited about. They've handled it very well. And, I really love Saban as a distributor, so I will continue to work with them. I think that they have the market. This is a great place to be, and they're a good partner to have.
Can't ask for much more than that, can you?
Yeah, no.
Well, Damon, again, the movie Apache Junction, be sure and find out about that. I've watched the trailer a couple times. Didn't want to ruin it by watching it ahead of time. I always like to wait until after I do the interview to watch the film. So I'm looking forward to checking out Apache Junction this evening. And Damon, hopefully we can catch up again real soon, brother.
Yeah, that would be great, bro. Appreciate it. And thank you for your time.
Well, thanks again for joining us for this 133rd episode in Season 2 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a comment, question, anything else you'd like to know, you can hit me up on the contact page at gqwithcam.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook at gqwithcam. If you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, visit our merch store, where we've got hoodies, shirts, stickers, mugs, tumblers, and much more. That's gqwithcam.com/shop. If you have a special guest idea, just go ahead and email me, gqwithcam@gmail.com. Do want to say thanks to our good friend Brandon Allen for coming up with our theme music. We're going to let him play us out and hope you guys have a great rest of your evening.